Welcome to Ski Cap, Hoodie, and Shorts. Episode 35, Stories and Recipes, Quick Pickling. Hey everyone, thank you for joining the Ski Cap, Hoodie, and Shorts podcast. This week is one of our special Stories and Recipes episodes, and we are going to be talking about some quick pickling. My name is Ted Samaras. I'm your host today, and I hope you enjoy this episode. So this is the time of the year where I know a lot of you out there, and me too, want to try to eat a little more fresh, right? It's beginning of the summertime, and you've got all these different great veggies that are out there, and you don't want to be eating veggies out of the can or frozen if you can help it, because you have such a plethora at farmers markets and regular markets of some great vegetables out there. And I know also that you're looking for different ways to prepare your veggies, right? You don't want to just sit there and eat a carrot stick all day long or cucumber slices just plain, but you also don't want anything that's over processed or overcooked, super limp, that type of thing. And I know you don't want to go into full-blown canning or anything like that, because that is more for the fall, when you have that abundant harvest and you are looking for ways to preserve your vegetables for the fall or make some great jams or that type of thing. So I thought it would be nice, especially this time of year, to talk about something like quick pickling, right? Which I know sounds funny coming off the tongue. I thought I was going to name the title of this, Quicklin' Picklin', kind of like a Piggly Wiggly type of deal, but I thought quick pickling would work. And again, with something like this, because it's the time of year, you want to eat fresh, but maybe you want that change. You want a little more flavor. You maybe starting with some backyard barbecues now. Maybe it's around Father's Day, where you are in the world, that type of thing. So maybe you're celebrating that, or maybe you just want to, have some of these veggies on your own. So realistically, right, the biggest thing about pickling is using some kind of vinegar. Okay, and most times, right, to be safe, you can go with white vinegar, right? If you're looking for a little more of that, other flavors in there, like an apple cider vinegar or a red wine vinegar, you can certainly do that. But for most times, you're going to want to use a regular white vinegar, and you're going to want to use some spices, right? And, I know with canning, you got to boil it and make sure the can seals and do all that. But because this is something that we're going to be using like either right away or within a couple hours or maybe even a few days later, but it's been refrigerated, it's perfectly fine, using like a regular storage container, Tupperware, that type of device, that type of vessel to do it. And I know, as when I do this, right, it has to do with the vinegar, has to do with the spices that you put in, right? So I know the traditional, type of spices that you could put in the pickles with the hot pepper flakes and coriander seed and all that type of stuff. But for here, again, it's whatever kind of spices maybe you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for something more garlicky, more oniony, that type of thing. But put the white vinegar in. If you find that you put, too much vinegar in for the amount of vegetable you got and it's too strong after the first time, you can always decide to dilute it a little bit with a little water. But I've used all kinds of vegetables for this. So, I've definitely used cabbage for this. Me personally, I like to use the shredded type out of the bag, so this way I don't buy a whole head of cabbage and then either I'm eating cabbage the whole time or that type of thing, or some of it goes to waste. So I like just getting the bag pre-shredded cabbage. I also do this with carrots, with peppers, with cucumbers, right, which is more of the traditional pickle. Cauliflower, whatever kind of vegetable you're looking for, right? Obviously here, right, it needs something that's got some hold to it, right? You don't want to go completely leafy, but some vegetable that's got some kind of like strength to it or body to it, that can stand up not only to the vinegar, but also even if it does go a little bit limp, it's not going to be completely, gone. And, for some of these vegetables too, for whether it's the, especially like the carrots and the cucumber, you may want to slice them like chips, right? Like little sized poker chips, right? Then they become great for just kind of picking and snacking. Like if you're trying to be healthy and not grab a potato chip or a tortilla chip, I know that's easier said than done. But you also have them for like, putting them on top of like a burger. Or that type of thing, or other types of sandwiches, right? What you can also do is you can also do a julienne or do a very thin slice on a lot of these different vegetables, and then put it in your pickling mixture, right? So that this way it's great to be able to take out and put into bowls, put into salads. You can use it for wraps. Even if you want to do a little homemade sushi, you can use these vegetables that way as well. Even if you want to do a quick kimchi here, you could do that. Again, like when I've done some different types of kimchi, right, I've used like the shredded cabbage to do it, even though I know it's more traditional to use like pieces or leaves of, Napa cabbage. But again, I'm just doing a quick one here. I'm not doing one that's going to, sit and ferment. Speaking of kimchi, two things, right? One, if you are going to truly ferment the kimchi and do that and break it down, that type of thing, you have to remember to add a little sugar to the vinegar because that's really what is necessary for the fermenting process, right? So that this way the bacteria can feed off the sugar and go all that. And I'm not going to go all food science on you here, but you want to keep that type of thing in. Also, if you look at a kimchi recipe online, you'll see something about fish sauce in there. And realistically, what fish sauce is, it's anchovy and salt and water. Right, so some of it's a little thicker, and if that's the case, it's too strong. You want to dilute it with water. Some of them you could see are already pretty liquidy, and it just give you like the essence of the anchovy. But this is not something you have to do, right? You can make yourself, your own style kimchi, and not necessarily put the fish sauce in. You could do it with like a soy sauce, and then you've got the white vinegar in there, so you can do that. All right, so just, a couple of things you want to do, but, maybe it's nice to have like a pickled cabbage or a kimchi type of flavor, right, rather than taking the canned sauerkraut out. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the canned sauerkraut if I'm eating like a pierogi or if I'm throwing it on top of a hot dog at a game with some mustard. But, that gets old after a while, right? When you're in the mood for sauerkraut out of the can, you're in for mood for sauerkraut, right? But then after a while, right, there's only so much of that you can eat. And so in having pickled vegetables or pickled cabbage or that type of thing is kind of a nice way to go. And just remember to, like I said, if you put, the first time you do it, you remember you're not going to be drinking the brine when you're done, right? If you put too much vinegar in there, that's okay. If the vegetable can stand up, great. You've got that flavor emboldened in there, plus the spices, and you could always reuse that vinegar. If you find that it's just way too strong for you, either cut back on the amount of vinegar, add a little bit of water to kind of bring that pH level up and allow it to, allow the vegetables to soak in something that's maybe a little less stringent. But no matter how you try this, I definitely, would encourage you to go ahead and try to, do some pickling vegetables here because, again, it's quick, right? It's something you can have, right away, but it's also something you could pre-make. So, if you're, cooking on a Sunday and you're chopping up some vegetables or you do it early in the week and you put it in your Tupperware and you want to let it sit a couple of days, it'll be great. There'll still be some bite, still be some snap. You have these beautiful garnishments in case guests come over or even just for yourself. And it's something you have ready ahead of time, and it's healthy for you to have as well. As long as you're not very heavy-handed with the salt, of course, that you put in with your spices. So as always, because this is a stories and recipes recipe, in the words of my father, God bless America, let's eat. And as always, I look forward to your feedback, not only on topics that we can talk about during this podcast, but also on the topics we've discussed, recipes you have especially. I love hearing you share about your recipes or different, family things you have or that type of thing. So you can always reach out to me via email at skicaphoodieandshorts@gmail.com. You can also go to the website, which is www.skicaphoodieandshorts.com. If you want to go to my main website, it is www.ourtechcoach.com, where you can see not only this podcast website, but you can see some of the other great projects I'm working on globally with educators from around the world, and also take a look at some of the places that I'm speaking either virtually or in person. Finally, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can do that too. You can DM me there. It is @OurTechCoach, and that's all one word. So as always, I definitely look forward to hearing from you, because your feedback is really what drives this podcast. So as always, I'd like to thank you for your time and listening to the Ski Cap Hoodie and Shorts podcast. Please remember to be good to yourself and be yourself.